you're living a mediocre life right now, it's because your standards are mediocre. Period. Stop blaming your boss, your parents, or the damn government. Your life is the result of what you tolerate. Raise your standards or stay stuck. It's that simple. Are you sick of watching others win while you feel stuck? That's not bad luck, it's low standards. The life you dream of, it demands more. Higher expectations, ruthless discipline. Today we're tearing down your excuses and rebuilding your mindset. This isn't motivational fluff, it's a wake-up call. Your future starts with what you demand from yourself, starting now. You get what you tolerate. Read that again, let it sink in. Your life right now, your job, your relationships, your bank account, your health, it's not some cosmic accident. It's a reflection of what you've allowed, of what you've tolerated. Every time you let yourself sleep in instead of showing up early, you reinforce that mediocrity. Every time you stay quiet when someone disrespects you, you tell the world you're okay with being treated like trash. Every time you allow people who are lazy, broke, and negative to occupy space in your life, you're handing over your power on a silver platter. You are not a victim. You're a volunteer. You're volunteering for underperformance. You're signing up for disappointment. And the worst part, you probably don't even realize it because you've normalized low standards for so long that mediocrity has become your comfort zone. But comfort is a liar. Comfort is the silent assassin of potential. The hard truth is, if you're not absolutely disgusted by the idea of staying the same for another year, you haven't raised your standards high enough. People talk about wanting more money, more success, better relationships, but they're not willing to raise their standards to deserve those things. Wanting isn't enough. Wanting's cheap. Everybody wants. The ones who actually build empires are the ones who stop tolerating anything less than their vision. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. It's about setting the damn standard so high that mediocrity suffocates in your presence. You need to raise the bar, and not just once, relentlessly. The bar should be so high that it makes the people around you uncomfortable. They should either rise with you or fall away. If someone's always late, lazy, and full of excuses, cut them loose. If you're tolerating your own weak behaviors, procrastination, complaining, blaming others, it's time to kill that version of yourself and replace it with someone who executes. Someone who shows up even when it's inconvenient. Someone who gets it done because the standard demands it. The standard is the silent contract between you and your future. When you raise it, you force your environment to change. You force your behavior to evolve. You force your mind to rise above the noise. And yes, it will be painful. It will be lonely. But that pain is temporary. You know what's permanent? Regret. Living back and realizing you could have, would have, should have, if only you had raised the bar. Raise it. Raise it until it breaks your old self in half. Raise it until there's no room left for excuses, just execution. Raise it because your future demands it, and your past no longer deserves your loyalty. You get what you tolerate, so stop tolerating less and start becoming more. Standards are not preferences. They're non-negotiables. That's the brutal truth most people don't want to hear. You think you're going to build an extraordinary life by preferring success, by hoping things work out? No, that's a fantasy. Successful people don't hope for excellence, they demand it. They don't show up when they feel like it, they show up regardless. They don't lower the bar when things get hard, they raise it even higher. Why? Because they understand one thing, the standard is the result. You either enforce high standards or you accept low outcomes. There is no in between. Most of you treat standards like they're a wish list. I'd like to wake up early. I'd prefer to eat clean. I'd rather be focused. Stop right there. Preferences are for the weak. Preferences are for people who negotiate with themselves every time resistance shows up. You want to win? Then stop negotiating. You either do what's necessary or you don't. Champions don't say, I'll try. They say, I will, or I'll die trying. That's the difference between you and the top 1%. They don't flinch when it gets uncomfortable. They expect it. They welcome the pressure because pressure is where growth lives. And comfort is where ambition goes to die. It's where dreams get strangled slowly by the soft, suffocating hands of mediocrity. High standards should scare you. They should stretch you. They should force you to become a different animal. If your current standards allow you to hit snooze, miss deadlines, or entertain losers in your circle, then your standards are killing your future, period. You want to change your life? Then raise your minimums. That's the secret. Not your goals, your minimums. Because you'll always fall to the level of what you demand from yourself when no one is watching. And let me tell you something real. High standards offend people. They'll say you've changed. Good, you're supposed to change. You're not supposed to stay small, just so fragile egos around you feel comfortable. That's not your job. Your job is to evolve, to execute, to lead. If your standards make people uncomfortable, that's a sign you're on the right path. Weak minds hate strong standards. Let them hate. While they gossip, you build. While they sleep, you grind. While they doubt, you execute. So burn this into your soul. Standards aren't goals. They aren't dreams. They're the line you refuse to cross, the floor beneath your feet, the identity you live by. You want more out of life? Then demand more from yourself. Stop lowering your standards to fit your mood. Instead, raise your standards and force your mood to rise. That's what winners do. That's how empires are built. Raise your standards or stay exactly where you are. But don't ever pretend you didn't have a choice. Look around you. Seriously. Who do you spend the most time with? Are they pushing you forward or pulling you down? Are they encouraging growth or justifying your stagnation? Because here's the brutal truth. Your environment is a direct reflection of your standards. You can't expect to think like a champion while spending your time with people who settle for scraps. If you're surrounded by losers, slackers, and excuse makers, don't be surprised when your results start to look just like theirs. You may have dreams of building something great, but dreams rot in toxic soil, and most people are living in a damn swamp of mediocrity. Want to raise your income? Surround yourself with people who talk money, investments, and execution, not gossip, fantasy football, and get-rich-quick schemes. You want to get fit? Get around people who hit the gym like it's a non-negotiable part of life, not the ones who complain about their metabolism while inhaling junk food. You become what you immerse yourself in. That's not motivational fluff. That's biology, psychology, and raw truth. You ever wonder why people in elite circles keep winning? It's not luck. It's proximity to excellence. Excellence rubs off. So does laziness. The energy, mindset, and habits of the people closest to you are either lifting you up or sucking the ambition out of your soul. And don't feed me the excuse, but I've known them forever. Loyalty to mediocrity is still mediocrity. Just because you've got history with someone doesn't mean they deserve a front row seat in your future. Sometimes the most powerful step forward is cutting ties with what holds you back. That might mean spending less time with certain friends. It might mean leaving the job where everyone's clock watching and no one's leveling up. It might even mean distancing yourself from family members who project their fears and limitations onto your vision. This isn't about being cruel. It's about being committed. You can't fly with anchors tied to your ankles. And a lot of you are dragging chains made of comfort, familiarity, and fear of judgment. Your standards don't just live inside you. They're enforced and reflected by your environment. If you walk into a room where everyone is talking about goals, hustle, impact, you will either rise or you'll run. And if you're the smartest or most driven person in your circle, you're in the wrong damn circle. You don't grow by staying the same. You grow by being challenged, by being held accountable, by being called out when you're not living up to your potential. So here's the call. Audit your environment ruthlessly. Look at who you let influence your thoughts, your habits, your expectations. Upgrade your environment or downgrade your dreams. Those are your only two options. Choose wisely, because your future isn't built in isolation. It's built in the company you keep. Discipline is the backbone of high standards. Without it, your goals are nothing more than wishful thinking. You don't magically rise to the level of your ambitions when the pressure hits. You fall to the level of your standards. And those standards are only as strong as the discipline you uphold daily. It's easy to talk about greatness. It's easy to dream big, post motivational quotes, and say you want to change your life, but when the alarm rings at 5 a.m. and you hit snooze, you've already lost. You told the universe that your comfort is more important than your commitment. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not loud or sexy. It's quiet. It's you showing up when nobody's watching. It's doing the work when the motivation is gone and all you've got left is the fire of your own expectations. High standards require enforcement, and discipline is the enforcer. Standards aren't something you set once and forget. They're something you live by every single day. And if you're not disciplining yourself, you're lowering your standards, whether you admit it or not. Every time you choose fast food over clean fuel. Every time you skip the workout because you're too tired. Every time you procrastinate instead of executing. You're not just being lazy. You're voting against the person you claim you want to become. You're saying your goals don't matter as much as your excuses. And trust me, excuses are seductive. They're always available. But they're also the bricks that build a prison around your potential. Discipline is about choosing what you want most over what you want now. Do you want to feel good for a moment, or do you want to feel proud for a lifetime? That's the difference between average and elite. The elite don't negotiate with discipline. It's non-negotiable. They don't wait to feel like it. They do it anyway. Because they know that every rep, every task, every discipline choice is a deposit in their future success. And the compounding effect of that is where greatness is born. You want a better body, better business, better bank account? Then get better at discipline. It's not complicated. It's not about being superhuman. It's about being consistent. Success isn't found in the big dramatic moments. It's found in the small disciplined actions that you repeat until they become who you are. You don't try to be disciplined, you decide to be. You lock it in and you don't look back. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for motivation. Start building the kind of self-discipline that makes your standards impossible to ignore. That's when your life starts to change. That's when you stop chasing success and start attracting it. Discipline is hard, yes, but so is being broke, weak, and full of regret. Pick your hard. Only one of them builds empires. Your standards become your identity. What you expect from yourself on a daily basis forms the backbone of how you see yourself, and more importantly, how you act. You either see yourself as elite, a high-performance machine with unshakable standards, or you see yourself as just another average person coasting through life. And here's the truth. Your brain will do whatever it takes to make your actions match your identity. That's why people who say, I'm just not a morning person, always sleep in. That's why people who think, I'm bad with money, keep blowing their paycheck on garbage they don't need. It's not because they're incapable. It's because they've accepted an identity that supports failure. Not lazy. You're not broken. You're not doomed. But somewhere along the line, you accepted a low standard, and then you made that your identity. You made it who you are, and now it feels normal. Let me tell you something. Just because something feels normal doesn't mean it's acceptable. Just because you've lived in that pattern doesn't mean it defines you, unless you let it. When you raise your standards, your identity starts to evolve. You begin to say, I don't miss workouts. You say, I don't show up late. You say, I don't quit when it gets hard. And that shift starts to change how you operate, not just when you're motivated, but even on the days when everything sucks. That's the power of identity built on standards. It's not tied to emotion, it's tied to expectation. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. So if you believe you're elite, you train like it, you think like it, you speak like it, and eventually you win like it. But if your standards are low, your identity becomes fragile. You start negotiating with weakness. You justify mediocrity. You keep company with people who validate your excuses instead of challenge your growth. And that's the slippery slope that leads to regret. And that's the silent killer, not failure, but the slow erosion of self-worth that comes from knowing you let yourself off the hook too many damn times. The great news, you can rewrite the story, you can raise the bar, you can become a new person the moment you demand more. Not wish, demand. You say, this is who I am now, and you back it up with brutal execution. That's how champions are built. That's how empires are born. Not through talent, not through luck, but through a relentless commitment to standards that forge an identity of strength, discipline, and unstoppable will. You change your standards, you change your life, but more than that, you change who you are. So stop waiting, stop negotiating. Stand up, look yourself in the mirror and declare it. This is who I am now. Then go out there and prove it. Every damn day. Pain is temporary, low standards last forever. Let that sink in. Most people run from pain like it's the enemy. But here's the truth the average person doesn't want to face. Pain is the price of growth. It's not the enemy. It's the admission fee for the life you say you want. Raising your standards isn't comfortable. It isn't convenient. It's brutal. It's lonely. It demands sacrifices that soft people aren't willing to make. But you're not here to be soft. You're here to rise. Every time you raise the bar, the world pushes back. Your friends start calling you too intense. Your body aches from the early mornings and late nights. You fail, you fall, and guess what? That's all part of it. Growth requires friction. You're breaking the mold of who you used to be, of who the world expects you to remain. And that hurts, but it's a necessary pain. It's the pain of expansion, the pain of becoming something more, something greater. But let's talk about the other pain, the silent, soul-sucking ache of regret. That pain doesn't scream, it whispers. It creeps in, slowly. It shows up when you're alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell you let so many years go by without pushing harder. It haunts you when someone younger, hungrier, and more disciplined passes you up because they were willing to do what you weren't. It's the pain of watching your dreams rot because you chose comfort over commitment. You got a choice to make. Pain is part of the deal either way. So the question is simple. Which pain do you want? The pain of discipline is sharp but temporary. It's the 5 a.m. alarm. The reps when your muscles are screaming. The decision to say no when everyone else is saying yes. It hurts, yeah, but it builds. It forges character. And on the other side of that pain is power, purpose, pride. The pain of low standards, though, that pain lasts forever. It lingers. It dulls your fire until you're just another body going through the motions, wondering why life feels hollow, why nothing ever works out, why success always seems just out of reach. And it's not because the universe is against you. It's because you accepted less than what you were capable of. You let your fear of discomfort bury your future in mediocrity. Stop doing that. Stop settling for low standards just because they're easier. Stop lying to yourself about trying your best when you know damn well you got more in the tank. Raise your standards so high they scare the old version of you. That version has to die for the new one to emerge. That's the price. But the reward? A life on fire, a legacy that echoes a reality you built, not inherited. Pain is temporary. Low standards are forever. Choose wisely. Stop settling. Stop whining. And for God's sake, stop waiting. Today is the day you decide. Are you going to keep playing small? Or are you going to raise your standards and build the empire you were born to lead? Your standards dictate your success. So raise them ruthlessly, relentlessly, right now. Subscribe for more real talk. Drop a comment. What standard are you raising today? And remember, excuses don't build empires. Execution does.